Well, hello and welcome. This is chapter 57 of, I think it's 57. We're going to go with it. World's Longest Suicide Note. My name is Roger. I'm the one creating the note, and I hope it lasts for many years. Yeah. And even though I am suicidal at times, I'm in no way any kind of mental health expert. I'm not an expert at any of it. This is just me giving a perspective, my own perspective, on suicide and severe mental illness and other things that kind of come up and are part of it, and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's what's going on. And I'm not off put. I'm not, weirded out or anything, but there's a couple topics that we train ourselves to not talk about in polite society. I mean, one of them obviously is suicide. But that being said, we're going to talk about that. But we're also another one, and one that I don't enjoy talking about, and that's religion and or politics. Don't like talking about that either, but that's something we're not going to talk about today. But at some point we probably will, because again, this spider web of consciousness that we have inside our heads, that basically is connected. So it's really hard just to talk about this without it actually affecting this over here, because of all the interconnected things that, like webbing. Anyway, I think you get I think you're smelling what I'm selling as far as that. I don't know. Okay, religion. Yeah, I grew up religious, from a religious family, and so every Sunday we would get up and put on our Sunday clothes, and it was Sunday clothes. You have clothes for Sunday. And so we put those on and get ready and go to church and spend a couple hours learning things. And early on it was fine. I didn't really, this is how I earned the breakfast, the famed after church multi-course breakfast meat extravaganza that I love so much. That's what I don't want to talk about religion. Let's talk about breakfast, and assorted breakfast meats and eggs and such. Yes, that's a good. I'll talk about that. Anyway, yeah, that's how I paid. It's how I got those breakfasts. Is I'd sit through church, and I never really got much. Even in the early days, I didn't really, didn't have any real aha moments or, times when it truly connected with me, spirituality on any kind of level. But that's what the family's doing. That's what I'm supposed to do. We'll do it. And so it was no problem. It was just part of what we did. And then 13 rolls around, and when teenagers in church, that's just an awkward thing. Awkward is teenagers in church. There's an awkwardness. You got stuff going on, and the Bible's saying don't do this, don't think about the stuff that's going on, and you're like, oh God, I'm going to hell. You think about hell all the time because these things are happening and they're separating, they're treating you weird, and the old guys in the church keep an eye on you. Anyway, I didn't even really care about all that, because I didn't mature as fast as some people, so it's like I was a couple years behind the curve there anyway, I think. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, 13 years. But then after I started experiencing the mental illness, that's when things changed on many different fronts, sides, campaigns, battles, whatever. Um, yeah, when I started it, and knowing, I mean, I've been through some sermons, and I mean the evil and the devil, and you know, I think I learned more from the Exorcist movie um, than from church, but I knew about like the devil and demons and this and that, and I mean I had heard, because my uncle in the living with somebody with severe mental illness. I mean, you see these things. Oh, they're battling their demons, and then you demons in the Bible, and you think, oh, they're possessed. Then you watch The Exorcist, and you're like, that dude's fixing to spin his head and puke everywhere. And so, there's a stigma that you don't even know that you're starting to attach to mental illness, just on that kind of that aspect of it. And so anyway, early on, I didn't tell anybody, so people in the church didn't know about my problems initially. So there was not a lot of the laying on of hands and anointing of oil and whatever. And I didn't feel hot when I went to church. I wasn't burning like, like in some of the movies, the demon goes to church. Like, what was that with the kid? I didn't really like that one. With the kid, the possessed kid that is going to be present. Whatever. But he wouldn't go to the church. He got sick whenever they tried to take him to church. Red flag, or not? I don't know. Yeah, none of that happened. I mean, it was just a normal. I'd go and I'd get my breakfast, and it went fine until the cat was out of the hat. No, the cat was out of the bag, and I couldn't hide my mental illness anymore, and it just started coming out. And we should probably talk about that too. We will at some point. But of course, my parents being religious and driven by the virtues, the Christian values and the important things that have to happen, they're like, took me in front of the church, and I mean, everyone like did their thing. It was a weird situation. Everyone laid their hands on me. I was like anointed, and it was an outpouring. And I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty good. Sorry, there was a flashing little thingy on the screen, and I was drawn to it like the moth to the flame. Yeah. So, the whole church, they took turns. I mean, they came up and they did. I got the deluxe version of, the when they redeemed the coupon, they went all out. And I felt, I mean, at the time, I think I was, if I was 17, if I wasn't 17, I was getting close to being 17. So I had been dealing with it for 3 to 4 years on my own until I couldn't. So anyway, train, get on the tracks. So it felt good, and honestly, that was the first time I actually felt like, oh man, there may be something to this religion thing. It doesn't feel bad at all. Felt kind of good for a minute, and that that lasted, I think, for a little period of time. I mean, and by that I can't really tell, but I mean, I think maybe a couple weeks I had that high kind of going on, and it's like I'm even like, maybe I'll even get into this whole religion thing. Maybe I'll become a pastor, or, something fancy. But then it changed. It wasn't that way. That feeling went away to a degree, to a large degree. The original feeling started coming back, and therein was the biggest problem, because what happens is once the church does that for you, and you feel like, oh, this has worked, or this is something that it's like someone comes in and they're in a wheelchair, and now all of a sudden they could walk and they're running around. Well, nobody wants to go back in the wheelchair. Nobody wants to see someone go back in the wheelchair, because it's like, it was successful, now it's not. God has chosen to heal you. So what happens when it comes back? Well, what happens is nobody says it, but God can never be wrong. That's the first thing you have to understand. God can't be wrong. If he chose to heal you through the power of everyone coming together, you're healed. And so your problems are therefore over. The problem is you're not healed. And so the reason why you never see the guy that went running out of the wheelchair again, you never see him again, is that you can't go back. Once you're healed, you can't go back. Because if you do, then it's on you. Then it's not, because every single person in the congregation, they put their hand on you, they prayed, you were saved from your problems. You can't go back, and that's the biggest challenge. So, and I went back. I went backwards because I was not healed. Well, there's a shock. I wasn't healed. And since the fact that I wasn't healed, it became an issue between me and God, and I had failed in my relationship with him. So the stigma became even greater, and the understanding became less and less, and I just disconnected more and more with. I mean, I tried to go through the because it really mattered to me. I mean, it was my community, and it was the community I know. So it's like I wanted to. There was a desire for me to want to stay in this community, and so I tried, but I failed because, and when I was succeeding, I wasn't being honest. That the times I felt the most successful were the times I felt like the biggest fraud, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's and then, but like I say, over the time, I didn't just leave the church. It took me a long time to leave the church. It took me like becoming way more open and transparent with who I am and what I'm going through. That was the real turning point for me. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. That's it for today. And we'll talk. Like I say, this is a big thing, and we'll be talking about it because we can't not talk about it. That's just how it goes. It's a big one, and so we'll get more into it as we go. Yeah, but I want to say this before I end, is that if you get comfort, if you get comfort from religion, I am not here to tell you that religion is. I'm telling you about the experience that I had, and some people have had far different. This is not an anti-religion thing, and I want you to know that if you get comfort out of your religion, then dive into it by all means. Get everything you can from that in your life because it's important. So this is not I don't want to come across as anti-religion whatsoever because spirituality and understanding the metaphysics of everything around us is important, and finding that place. And if you found a place, then stick with it, please. So anyway, and keep fighting. If that's part of your fight, then go get it. All right. I respect you immensely. So you take care, and we'll see you next time.